You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's After Show.
What's up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Face Off. I'm your host, Danica Kennedy, and joining me tonight is
Elena Jordan.
We have our creepy music playing right now because this episode's all about life and death, and our special guest for the episode this evening was Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself. I was a big fan of the death side more than the life side. What about you?
I 100% was all about the death side tonight.
I am really excited to see what they do with this season. All the makeup artists on here, or most of them, were insanely talented, so I can't wait to see what they have coming up next. There were so many people on this episode, though. I kind of
It was
felt
almost
a little
overwhelming. There were
like,
so many people.
I wanted to write down all their names and their backstories and how much makeup experience they have, but I couldn't even keep track of how many people there are. But
I'm glad
they're
they
gonna narrow
nixed
it
two
down.
of them tonight instead of just one.
And I totally agreed with who they nixed. I was like, these people need to be off the show. They are not capable of it.
But how rough is that? To quit your job, a lot of these people, uproot thinking that you're on the show, and then all of a sudden, the very first challenge is, psych, you're not actually a contestant yet. You're fighting for your life to figure out if you're one of the top 14.
Hopefully, they have found jobs by now, so they're not at home watching the premiere in sadness.
I hope so, too.
Hopefully.
I hope so, too.
Hope you guys are okay out there. That was very...
Sit in your love. Sit in your love.
They threw them under a lot of pressure right from the get-go, though. They put them in this church cathedral where it's like life and death, very dramatic on both sides, and they're given 4 hours to do, which is not enough time at all for any crazy special effects makeup competition.
No.
That's under pressure. So,
Well, then to throw in the kinks,
amazed
too.
with what they came out with, considering that time.
Yeah, because they have their first concept, and then halfway through the concept, they say, oh, surprise, here's another element that you have to incorporate. And, depending on what you get, that could change everything that you've done up to that point and have to start all over. So they're really feeling the pressure the entire time.
That intro was so dramatic. They had them walking into this serious music, into this cathedral, and they're like, you guys aren't actually on the show yet. You guys have to win your place on the show, so psych. And they had to, compete for their lives.
Beautiful cathedral, too, but also incredibly intimidating the way that they set it up.
Creepy.
Ooh.
Terrifying.
Fitting with the life and death theme, though. I liked that they went with that and created the cathedral that has, the life element and then also the creepy funeral type aspect to it.
A little bit of both. So who were your personal favorites?
I had a few favorites. Sasha's hands down my favorite so far. I really also, I liked Kellen. I thought that she was good. I liked the creative muse aspect that she had going on. I liked.
She was one of my favorites.
She was,
too.
yeah. There's a few people that I really liked. I was actually kind of surprised because I kind of liked Gwen.
Yeah, I did too.
I liked Gwen. I thought she was good. So
I actually want to see more of Sig and Rachel. We didn't really get to see that much of them.
No.
They sent away half of the group that was safe for the rest of the competition, and I'm excited to see some of those characters' personalities come out a little bit more. Rachel, I'm already a big fan of. Girl, good hair choice right there, pink and purple, rocking it. Sig just sounded like such a fun, crazy guy. I feel like he's going to come up with some really bizarre and unique choices.
I'm excited to see a lot more from all of the group 1 people because I felt like because they were kind of the middle of the road people. They were the people that they were saying, you're safe, you're not the best, you're not the worst, but you're not going home. So we just kind of
Just
got
kinda
little
neutral.
hints to them. Yeah, like Stella, Damien, George, Barry, Doc. I feel like we didn't really get to dive into them a lot yet. So that entire group, I'm excited to see more from.
The judges were pretty spot on with my opinions, what they were saying. Immediately, who they voted off, that guy Scott knew he should have been voted off because he had no confidence from the very beginning. He knew he shouldn't have been there. And you can
Scott
tell he
shouldn't
was
have.
just, terrified. And you can't be terrified or have that much anxiety when you're in that stressful of a competition. You're
You
not going to
can't doubt
last.
yourself. If you doubt yourself, then you're done.
Even if you're going to do something really crazy, you just have to, like, embrace it and go full throttle. Speaking of which, Sasha got a little ballsy in this one. She was supposed to use this prosthetic on her model's face, and she went for the hands instead. I think for a show like this, the more creative you get, the better artist you are. If you think outside of the box and kind of, come up with the more interesting ideas. What do you think about...
I agree. Especially when Glenn and Neville get really close up and they're looking at it. And, Neville kind of points out, oh, well, this is interesting. And then Glenn says, well, that's actually kind of cool. Because it's something that you don't think of right off the bat. So that already lets us know that she's going to be, I think, somebody to watch because of her creative impulses and how she sees the materials differently than the other contestants, I think.
I think when you come up with the creative, think outside of the box, you usually pay more attention to detail as well. Like, there were some makeup artists where they were really good, like Gwen, they were great, but when you get up close, you notice the little details that are missing. And when you're doing special effects makeup, that's really important because you're going to do close-ups with like HD
And with
cameras.
high definition,
and
exactly.
You're going to see everything. It's not going to be like a stage performance where you're going to see from far away.
And I think that's kind of her downfall, was it seemed like she was making more theatrical and less film and television. You have to be so much more precise with film and television because from far away, it looked great. And then as soon as, us as the audience see it from far away and we go, oh, well, that's phenomenal. And then as the judges move in, we also move in with the camera angles and get to see those details that are kind of lacking compared to these other makeup artists that are just phenomenal. I mean, she's phenomenal too, but the caliber
Vince
this
was
season.
one of my favorites too. He kind of reminded me of Sasha because she did the whole prosthetic handpiece and was kind of a rebel in that way. And he did this blue ginger with metal spikes coming
Mutated
into
zombie
his
demon.
face. That was one of my favorites for sure.
You had me at mutated zombie demon.
Freak. It's okay. I like it.
I mean, it's
Okay.
true, though. He did such a great job. And I love, Louise even points out, this could have been really garish, depending on how you did it. With that red hair that V likes so much, that could have gone very clownish. It could have been very Ronald McDonald meets your nightmares. And he was able to steer it away from that direction, which is a risk that you take going in the direction that he was going. So I thought he did a great job.
One of my favorites, they didn't even do that much of a close-up on. I didn't even really take notes on it, but it was George's old age robot where the flesh was just kind of dangling
That
off his
was
neck and he
cool.
had like this metal esophagus built on the inside.
I wish they would have gone more into that too, because George, he just kind of alludes to it when he says, oh, it's nerve-wracking because this is a risk that I'm taking, having this old age makeup with the robotic element. But I thought that was awesome, and combining it, I felt like that made a more intricate story, and I wish that he would have kind of given more of a backstory for this character. I want to know, was this robot always old? Was he made that way? Is he half human? Is like, what is going on with this character?
That's why I liked his makeup so much too, because the whole concept is life or death, and there's the whole, thought of what if, zombies, or not zombies, robots turn against
Artificial
us
intelligence.
and, attack
What
us.
is
And that's
life?
kind of, it could be symbolic of both life and death in a
I
way.
think that's brilliant. I think that if he had
Robots taking over, it's happening.
You heard it here first.
Prediction coming a little early in this episode.
Robots just take over the world. It's just a prediction
That's
for
my
Earth.
prediction for Face Off After Show.
Nice. Yeah, I thought that it was brilliant, and I feel like if he had dove into that storyline more, I felt like they would have connected to that character more. Because I feel like part of what made Sasha's makeup so great was her backstory. And she had Maven, the Raven, queen who died in a graveyard and sends the crows and ravens to attack. Like, she has such this intricate backstory that I love. And so many of the characters had this rich, creative aspect. Like, they even... Dina says she tries to pay attention to the set and bring the set to life and really make sure that the character represents the set and the environment. And I feel like he really missed that opportunity by kind of explaining himself better.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the people we saw today, you can see right away who's going to last and who isn't, just based on how they freak out when they open the box. Because some people, they open it and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out and I don't know what I'm going to do. And they just totally lose it. And they're like, I'm just going to...
Gabby.
Yeah, make whatever kind of thing. And then
Freak out.
everyone else is like, oh, I'm going to think outside of the box and like develop a character. There were some that were, almost there, like the guy with the foot soldier from the underworld, Drew. He had like the tumor piece on his head. Like, it was such a good idea, but it didn't quite make it there for me personally. I was like, oh, that was like so good. Like, if you had one more hour or like a little bit more time, I felt like it was a good idea.
There was a couple people that I felt like they had a really good concept, but it just wasn't executed the way that they really wanted. And I feel like, they even said... For Gabby in particular, somebody who had these resources available, she has her original idea and she just sticks to it instead of incorporating those elements. I feel like you just gotta work with what you're given and make sure that it all creates a cohesive piece. And I feel like, certain people were really good at that and they had a design they were headed towards, but maybe didn't have the time, and the judges were able to pick that up versus somebody, like Scott, who just doesn't really have as much a direction from the get-go.
There's the people that do the assignment perfectly, too. Like Damien's piece looked, a dead corpse. It was just like a dead body, and it was very realistic, but it also just looked dead,
Yeah.
I know that's the assignment, but Sasha's didn't look dead, but it was such a beautiful piece of art. And I really liked the life ones too. I know I'm like harping on the dead right now and I'm like dressed all goth, but the fruit and vegetable ones, or the very green ones, I liked too.
Yes, all of the kind of garden nymph ones. I thought Sig and
Sigs.
Dina
Theirs
almost
matched.
looked like, they looked like a couple almost.
Like
It wasn't
salad
planned.
Adam and Eve, like a
I like
a
that.
good healthy couples costume.
A healthy couple's costume. I like that. Like
The
a
healthiest
garden
couple
nymph.
alive right there. They don't even know they're dating yet, but I thought they went perfectly together too.
As soon as I saw both of those, I was like, oh, well, if there's ever a challenge where they have to work together, it would be kind of cool to see them paired together, since they kind of seem to have that same mental vision just based off of this one assignment so far.
I'm surprised more people didn't go for the greens for the life aspect, because I think as a makeup artist, like, I would immediately go for flowers and plants, because that's what I think of fresh living nature. So I'm surprised there were only two, and they looked very similar to each other, almost like
Yeah.
the same exact green.
It seemed odd to me that they didn't use like as bright a color palette, and I felt like a lot of the life designs got kind of sucked into that death aspect. And it's, well, if you really want to stay true to what your assignment is, you need to make sure that it contrasts sharply to the death side. You don't want it to be a reflection of that. You want it to be a foil of that.
There were a few of them where I was like, oh, this is supposed to be life? Like, I actually thought their makeup pieces were supposed to be death as the theme.
There were a few people that was the kind of the criticism that the judges gave, was this is just way off base as far as what you were given. And it seems like they had a set character in mind, but if it's the wrong concept, it doesn't matter. If it's a great character, it doesn't reflect what it's supposed to reflect.
I bet it does freak them out, though, when they get assigned life, and then they're like, here's a big, huge burn scar, make it into something that's living, you know?
Yeah,
hard
that
to
is
go,
a
like,
difficult. That is a
Still
difficult.
alive cancer patient with a tumor on their head. Like, it's hard to, you know, go with that when you're given such a, like,
Weird prosthetic. That's-
brutal, nasty looking
That is
prosthetic.
very true.
That's
That
why
is
you have to
very
think
true.
out of the box.
But I feel like that is the challenge of it, is that you need to stick with whatever you have. Don't be wishy-washy. You have to be fully committed to the character that you create. Otherwise, the judges are going to say, well, this falls flat. This isn't. No director wants a makeup artist that isn't clear about their vision, because the director wants a very clear vision. And I feel like a lot of these makeup artists aren't thinking this competition is supposed to be a reflection of you working in the industry. When you're working in the industry, these are the things that you're going to have to run into. Keep that in mind from the beginning, and you'll do well. And I feel like that's exactly what was reflected.
Yeah.
Having Kaylin, Sasha, and Vince, and Dina, I think, were the absolute best out of the bunch.
Kaylin is a cake decorator originally, which I...
Dina.
Oh, wait, no, Dina is
Yes,
the cake
Kaylin has the
decorator.
most amazing blue hair
She's
I think
the
I've
one
ever
with the blue
seen.
hair.
Phenomenal,
I love the
phenomenal.
blue hair and blue eyebrows. So
She
fun.
was somebody that I thought did a great job of taking a color palette that could have, like the judges even said, this could have gone death very quickly because of the blues. It could be very washed out. It could be very corpse-esque with the teal. But she does a great job of having the prosthetic, the flowers, like you were saying,
Yeah.
incorporating those life elements so that it reflects both sides, but mostly the life.
Reminded me of like a Greek goddess, kind of.
It was.
Like
I
a
loved
nymph.
the headpiece. And she even said that she had that idea, the nymph idea, and then that piece just went with her idea. So she kind of lucked out on that one. So I'm interested to see what happens if maybe she's thrown, you know, a wrench is thrown into the works for her, how she would take that in that direction. You know, if she would freak out and, you know, maybe make some poor choices like Gabby admits that she did, or if she would take it and run into another direction, like Stella was doing the fertility goddess for animals, and then was throwing in the different, and Rachel especially had the sea goddess, then was thrown in the fur. So
It
instead
didn't
of
even turn into a sea goddess in the end, really.
no, she
but it
created
looked
something new.
awesome.
Right, exactly. She was able to go with the flow and to take these elements and say, okay, well, my original concept is gone. I'll take this, I'll incorporate it, I'll make it into something else. And I'm interested to see if Kaylin can do the same thing, because all of her elements were
They kind of lined up.
yeah, they lined up
perfectly.
pretty well for her.
She
so
needs more of a challenge for us.
I feel like she could be up to the task, though. I feel like, based on what she showed us tonight, that's what makes me interested to see what happens when she has a bit more difficulty.
I'm just dying to see those other people that got like shooed away so quickly.
The group one people.
The group one. They had so many good makeups in that section that I want to like take a closer look at.
There's a lot, especially, I will say, when you were talking about the, whose was that? It was, I believe, Vince. No, Vince was the harbinger of death. The one that was the old age makeup.
Yeah.
I loved that one. I just thought it was so cool, and I wanted to see even more of that.
Old age makeup always really impresses me. I feel like that's probably one of the hardest makeups to do compared to airbrushing or special effects, because you have to make it look realistic. It's not something that you're taking out of this world to another place. It's like, this is what this person's going to look like later on that I'm trying to create. And there's a lot of bad old age makeup
Yeah,
done.
Robert Englund even says his best advice is look at your model, see what features your model has, work from that, because when they made his Freddy Krueger makeup, they were able to use pieces of his actual bone structure. They were able to manipulate those prosthetics better. And with old age makeup, that's one that you spot on, have to be so connected with your model because you were creating another likeness of them.
I'm glad that they had him on as a guest, but I wish they did some makeup on him or like did something
He's probably
more with him.
over
He's
it.
probably like
Those Freddy Krueger
no.
movies, he had hours and
Way too
hours of
many.
work. I can imagine not wanting
any of that anymore. It was exciting that he made an appearance. I just think it would be so cool if they did something crazy to him.
I am excited to see other celebrity appearances for this show. They always have the coolest ones. So this season, I already feel like this season is an incredibly lively bunch of people, and I'm excited about every person. It seems like every few seasons there's kind of the duds that you don't really care about as much in any sort of competition show, but this one doesn't really seem to have that. We're even saying,
Yeah.
the people who are shooed away, we want to see more from them. We want to know what else the middle of the road people are doing and what else they can bring to the table. So
I feel like the people they voted off were exactly who I would have voted off. They needed to leave, and now it's like the perfect set group of people. And I'm excited to see what they do in this competition. There's a lot of fun characters, you can tell already. A lot of fun hair colors. Loving that that's being represented on this show. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for everything. But since we're so amped about this show, we're going to be bringing you some after shows every single week for Face Off on Syfy. So what you have to do is you have to look us up on iTunes and download our podcast. You could just look up AfterBuzz TV, and we have a ton of different after shows. We both host Parenthood together, which is not on the air now, but coming back later, and you're
And
hosting
also,
The
yeah.
Leftovers,
The Leftovers, HBO's The Leftovers.
which I haven't seen yet, but sounds amazing.
It's awesome. It is a really good show. I really like that one. So, yeah, tune in.
And we don't have too much news and gossip. Let's just dive into news and gossip anyways. I have something to share with you.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So if you guys watched the episode on Face Off, you may have seen that they're doing a competition after the competition. Whoever is your fan favorite, you just have to tweet #FaceOff and your favorite contestant, mine personally, or ours personally, is at Sasha Glasser. And whoever gets the most tweets with that hashtag wins $10,000. So go home, choose your fan favorite, you know ours, do your thing. And do you have any predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I feel like Gabby at some point is going to have a full-fledged breakdown. I think it's coming. I think just based off this one and her being kind of nervous. Now, I did like that they pointed out she knew where she went astray and she knows the issues that she wants to correct, but her freaking out like that, I feel like we're going to see some more from her, and I feel like she's going to have some difficulties. I also feel like Kaylin is going to... I feel like she could go either way. I feel like she could be really, really great and just be the person to kind of keep up with and to beat on this show, or she could let the pressure get to her and crack if things don't go as planned. What do you think?
I think Kaylin is automatically one of those people that you either want to love or hate. And I like people like that. They're very, defined. And I like her blue hair. So far I like her. But I could also see her being major drama, like being kind of the crazy girl on the show, which I'm hoping for because that's why I love reality TV. Like, I'm hoping there's a little, meow cat fight going on, even though they're so busy with makeup. I think that'd be a little fun to toss in.
Do you think she'll
there.
be the drama inducer?
She might be. I think one of the crazy ones with the crazy hair is going to be the drama inducer. I think it's my
I think
bet's on
Sasha
Kaylin.
is going to crazy, but not drama.
But
I think
cute,
she's,
bubbly Sasha.
yeah, I feel like she's going to be like the little Red Bull that just keeps everybody going throughout the
Yes.
show. I hope at least. I hope we see a lot more from all of these characters, especially Dina. I really think that she was deserving in her win, especially since she's a cake decorator who doesn't really have makeup artist experience. So I feel like she's somebody else that now they're putting up on this pedestal for the first competition, and I hope she doesn't get overconfident and then end up kind of wavering later on.
I want to see more of the SIG, monster makeup, crazy, weird goblin stuff. For the challenges, I'm hoping to see, I know they're going to get crazier. For this first one, it's just life or death. You pick one theme or the other. I want to see the ones where it's life and death intertwined with some crazy theme.
I am excited to see more from Jason too. One, because I'm from the South, so what up, ATL? Also, he went so overboard on this one. I wonder if he's going to go the opposite direction and almost rein it in too much.
I hope not.
I feel like that's a
You think so?
possibility. That's my prediction anyway. We'll see. I can see him saying, oh, well, I went too far for this and pulling it back too much and taking a while to find that medium. Because I feel like he's not quite as confident as some of the other competitors.
Yeah, I feel like the ones that aren't confident are the ones that are going to drop like flies. Because
mean,
they
whether you
show
think-
it. They look
Exactly.
like they're scared of what they did. And if you're not confident about your own art,
No
one else
director,
is
no
gonna take
producer
it
is ever going to
seriously.
hire you.
Exactly. Well, there are so many predictions we can go with. You will just have to tell us yours and what you think. Just let us know on Twitter. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Alana Jordan, ALANA.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danica Kennedy. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.